Um, my name is Jonathan. I'm come from France, and today I would like to make connections between origami and ecology. That are two subjects uh, I'm really passionate with. And first, I would like to introduce you two men. Um, the first one is Sylvain Tesson, and the second one is Vincent Munier. The first one is a writer, and the second one a photographer. And both went to Tibet to try to find, with a very huge challenge, they wanted to find a snow panther and try to observe her and maybe make photo of her. And um, Sylvain Tesson just wrote a book about this adventure, and I read it, and it made me realize that wildlife photography has really beautiful qualities required, and I want to share it with you. The first one is humility, facing nature, because, and even the word nature, we should not use anymore because, uh, like developed Darwin theory, we all have the same parents. Living beings and plants, everybody have the same root, and human in our Occidental societies just made a border between humanity and the rest, calling it nature. But in fact, there is no border. So we shouldn't use the word nature anymore. But so we need to find again this humility with other living beings, and maybe uh, and this activity of wildlife photography really developed this ability. Second one is to develop our sense of sight, because I don't know if you saw it, but there is a snow panther here. Uh, I don't have a pointer, but it's in the middle, a bit low. Did you see it? No? Develop your sense of sight. It's okay? Yeah, great. Yeah, here. Yeah. Uh, yeah. A third ability is to have patience. You have to be quiet, like, and motionless, without, and but very uh, um, present to what can happen. And the last weeks, a friend of mine just showed me a place where we can observe otters near my where I live. So I went there several times, but I couldn't see it, and I went again. And uh, the last time I went, it appears after some hours of waiting, and it was wonderful because all the time I've waited, I've seen birds, I've seen a lot of things, but when it appears, it was like a presence. She and me, we were present at the same moment, and then she disappears, and life continue. And I really had this impression of being in her territory, in her. This river is uh, her house. Then I think wildlife photography need a lot of intuition, connection with nature, because when we see this landscape, do you know where to find a snow panther? Um, you have to think like a snow panther. You may want to follow the tracks and maybe imagine what's her point of view. And I think this connection with nature we had before, and we need to reconstruct, rebuild now, and maybe inspiring us with primitive tribes. And last is love of adventure, um, because the path. Ah, thank you. No, pero no creo que no voy a necesitar. Gracias. Por si acaso. Because the path to the snow panther is not written. They are going to find every day a new clues to imagine where she is. And sometimes she reveals herself, and like a moment of grace, she just appears and then disappears. Sylvain Tesson, the writer, proposed a very interesting metaphor I want to share with you. He says that before the Big Bang, there was like all the energy was in only one point. And then after the Big Bang, it exploded from in all parts, and all the living beings we are, all the animals, all the plants, are parts of this explosion, but we all come from the same ball of energy. And it's like a disco ball, that's a metaphor, because this is the ball of energy, and each reflection, it can be the living beings we can see around us. And the wildlife photographer is like work is to capture each of these reflections, to collect them and like rebuild this primary energy ball. And I think that origami artists are going further, because they are showing that each animal, each plant, each living being can come from the same square, like the same mirror of the disco ball. And also, I think that origami artists and wildlife photographer may share the same talent. And it's the same I told before. Humility, because we are only folding paper. The subject we are trying to reproduce, the form is much more complex and beautiful than what we are doing. Eagle eye, because we also need to see what's the most important thing in a living being, to traduce it with paper. Patience, of course, because creation is a long path. Intuition and connection. And I feel that when I'm connected with an animal, my hands know where to go when I'm folding paper. It's intuitive. And also a love of adventure, because we don't know the path to go through to arrive to the goal we are reaching, in order to capture beauty. Now I would like to focus on recent origami history. From traditional origami, there was some artists that develop very complex origami, and like Robert Lang, it was like I called it the leg challenge, because it was to have more and more legs. And I took an image from his presentation, and the aim was to draw the tree and then find the base, and that's the hardest part, and then fold the model. And for this, he developed a software. So I think that this has been a great step in origami design. But for me, I arrived, I'm very new in origami, maybe 5 years, and that's all. And I arrived, I say, oh, this is not anymore a challenge. So it has been done yet. And I asked me why also, what is not a challenge? And I think that I need to feel and less think. I need to unknow, and maybe the software that leads you until the solution doesn't make me dream a lot. And I need simplicity, and I need to be the motor. And that make me feel that in my life, I also need all of these. And watching our how developed the world, I think that our contemporary society is it's doing the job for us. For example, we can have everything without doing it. We can speak to anybody in the world without touching him. We can build everything everywhere. We can cross the ocean without touching water. We can cut trees without force. We can explore the universe without taking care of the earth. We can, yes, we can. So, and how planet is suffocating of these activities. So we need to reduce and slow down. And I think that's also a way to be happy, and a very fecund, I don't know it's in English word, fecund opportunity to simplicity. So in my life, I try to live the most simply I could. So I drive bike only. And I also did a bit of the travel to come here by bike. I live in a yurt that I built with my girlfriend, and you can see everything is round in my life. And also, I try to develop origami with very simple folds and curves. So now I would like to show you a video. It's a video taken 100 meters from where I live. And it's a camera trap. It's record video when an animal passes during day or night. And I just want you to watch this. There is no sound, but it may have. All of this was the first night I put the trap. So now the most important tool in origami for me is this. So I always travel with this, and I plan to do a lot of observation in order to come closer to the animal I try to fold. And then I would like to tell you about wild origami. That's how I define what I'm trying to do. I pass a lot of time observing, feeling, admiring nature. Okay. To understand what's the really special movement of an animal. Then I realized that in life, all these movements and for and like that curves described well this movement. Also, the word simplify came from Latin semplico facere, that means do only one fold. So maybe Latin origins also told us that simplicity is made for origami. I don't use traditional bases. It's like an always reinvented process to find how to design an animal. And I also think that he has an echo with ecology today, because we really need to break traditional bases of our capitalist societies. And also, I think that I make a path between origami skeleton that can be a form of designing, to living origami that I want to go straight to the movement of the animal. So I put and that's it. Thank you. Yeah.
What animal would you like to do next?
I'm thinking I wanted to do it for the convention. I want to do a chameleon. And I want to do it in front of a paper, because it will be a chameleon of paper. So we could not see it quite. It will be a... And I will use a stripe, so I can do a very round tail and a very large tongue. Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't think I can observe a chameleon near my house, but I may watch. So this type of process is that I want to fold the chameleon, so I will go and find some videos or photos or something like that. But sometimes it's at the reverse. So I watch a video, and for example, I saw a very beautiful documentary about lemurs. So after that, I just thought I need to find a way to describe, to fold the lemur. So it was at the reverse. But yeah. Yeah. Jeanette, I think it's the same in English. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think so.
I think it would be really interesting
Mm-mm.
in the way thought process about simplicity of living nature
Mm.
to select animals which are close to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also
Yes, just a quick.
I have a friend who is a photographer, and the bird is a photo of him. Uh, the this photo, and we are planning to. I would like to make a project with him. Is it will be to project in the city we live. Well, the city in in France, where the next the closest city, to project every day during summer, because there is a lot of people in summer, every day the images of the last night. So without any any montage, any editing, just this was last night, 2 kilometers from here. This was every day. So I think it will be very interesting, because for me it was a revolution to just so to see that this kind of animal were just next to me, and biodiversity we can protect it very next to us. So mm.
Where is it you live?
I live in south of Lyon, Ardèche, maybe you know.
Ardèche?
Yeah,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah. I have
Yeah.
a friend there.
What?
I have a friend
Uh
who
huh.
lives there.
Yeah, it's I live there in a small colline. I don't know how to say. Small mountain.
I I think you're right to pick out movement, um, and I have found to that the animals that I make that are most interesting to me are
Mm.
the ones that are they are near my house. Yeah, I recently made a squirrel, and it took me a long time to make this squirrel because I see them every day. They're in my garden. They're stealing the nuts I give to the birds. I watch them and I watch them, and it took me a long time to get what I wanted, but I got a much better model. And I think it is much harder to do that if you don't have that direct connection.
Yeah.
I make okay models from animals I've seen in the zoo, and I've watched them and liked them, or animals I've seen on television, but it's not the same as something that you live amongst.
Yeah, and also I think that um, it's a great emotion when uh, some animal is uh, beginning to breathe into your hands, and that you admire a lot, and then it becoming alive between your two hands. That's a very great feeling, I think.
I think other people may judge differently, but the most satisfaction I had from any modeling that I made in the last year was from that squirrel because I finally got what I was looking for.
Mm.
So I think the reward for the animal you're intimate with is big.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you.